Okay, we think we are live. Just going to quickly do a quick check. Okay, says we're live. So welcome everybody to Friday the 17th. It just seems like unbelievable that is happening. And I have a special guest today. She is a wonderful woman that I got connected to through a networking opportunity and does some incredible things. Please give a very warm welcome to Leah Fink from All Thrive. So
Hello.
nice to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
I'm awesome to have you. I hope you've had an amazing week. How has the week gone?
It's gone really well. I feel like the new year's heading into some new directions, which will be very fun.
I love it. So Leah does this amazing thing on her channel, and I want to tell you a little bit about. Tell me a little bit about, to start us, kick us off, because I want you to talk about how you and I actually met on another platform. We're doing another kind of video event, but tell us a little bit about it. I always say every entrepreneur has a story, and everyone comes to this path in different ways. So tell me a little bit about where your journey began. Did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Kind of. My journey started when I was a teenager in terms of my passion, and I was super lucky to get to do some personal development, which I know is not every teenager's passion, but I loved it and decided that's what I wanted to do for people. But obviously trying to figure out how to get there, there's not a specific educational stream or job, progression that you would think of. So I really love this idea because some of the programs I had done incorporate the outdoors, and I love the outdoors. So I went and did a degree in outdoor leadership, and then I went and did a degree in social work because I really also want to understand how people worked, what mental health was, and how that was impacting everything. I love both my degrees. They were fantastic. And I actually ended up after that working with both of them in a wilderness treatment program for youth who are struggling with substance abuse and mental health challenges. Bit of a mouthful.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I
That's why you
did
wanted
too.
to do a ropes course.
That's part of the reason why I love ropes courses. I love experiential. In that program, we got to take these youth who may have never had that experience out, and it's very different to talk about building confidence and climbing a mountain for the first time and reaching the summit and go like, oh my God, I can do these kinds of things. It's a very different feeling. So I love that component, and I love the program. If you ever want to understand people at a really deep level, that kind of work with addictions and understanding kind of how people operate at their best and in the challenging times was so powerful. So
Yes,
here I am.
I know when you
Yeah.
I know when you mentioned that you did this, I was like, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
What more do you want to know?
Well, it's funny because I had an opportunity to talk about personal development. Sometimes things taking, trying to find the label or the box of where you fit is hard. When I was living in the UK, and as you know, I'm a global nomad, I had the opportunity to do a ropes course and some kind of personal development as a team building exercise. And we had to climb like a 40-foot pole, a telephone pole. And there's this platform that's probably about the size of, a small Amazon box, like the smallest ones you can see. And four of us had to stand on it. And we had to get all four of us up. And we were harnessed and roped and things like that. But you talk about how instantaneously you know the measure of your deepest fears and your trust and collaborative and communicative skills. And I still go back to a really visceral moment where I had to talk somebody down off their panic. But it solidified a relationship in a way that nothing else could have, and has been now a lifelong friend. And we watched each other succeed. And I'm like, but I create safe space with you. And I think that's what's interesting about the work that you do, because you're very focused around creating safe spaces for people. Did you feel called to do that? Or tell me a little bit about how that's become a business, because I think so many people love the idea of being a sole purpose driven business owner, but wonder, is it legitimate? How do I do it? And tell me a little bit about how that came to be for you.
Yeah. Ooh, that's such a good question. Oh, hello, my cat. Um, so the piece that actually shifted me a bit, knowing that I'd always want to do this in the back of my mind, I think I knew that at some point I'd have to be entrepreneurial in some way. My plan in the back of my head was, I'll go from supervisor to manager, get all the experience that I would need to run a program like that. Like really, I'm a planner and a thinker that way. So I was thinking, oh, okay, that's the best stage I can get. In my last couple of years at the program I was working at, we went through some restructuring, which was just honestly very hard on our team, on our funders team, just trying to figure a whole bunch of stuff out. And through that process, I totally burned out completely. Was doing my best, felt like I was juggling 5 million balls at a time. So I ended up taking a stress leave. During that stress leave, looked at a lot of different resources, different types of therapy to make sure that I was treating myself well. I even did some hypnotherapy, which was a big breakthrough. And one of the things I came to was, what am I going to learn in a managerial or whatever further role for the work I want to do that I don't have already? And I think that can be maybe what scares some people away from entrepreneurism or taking that step, is like wanting to know that they have enough skills and knowledge to succeed. And I don't know if there is actually something more I need from a structured workplace where I was working for someone else. As you are probably very aware, the things I needed to know, because I definitely did not have the full knowledge to be a successful entrepreneur, were very much in another realm, right? They were the marketing pieces. They were the how to get yourself out there. As when you talk about being soul driven, it's really easy to, for me at least, it was really easy to think and be like, well, my passion's going to show. I have all these great skills with people. If I put it out there, they will come. There's a little bit more strategy to
And
it
did
than
they?
that. In some ways they did. I definitely attracted a lot of amazing people, and but there's a lot more strategy and planning and ways to do that than just approaching people and saying, hi, this is my passion, join me, right? There's ways to talk. There's ways to figure out what product you're going to do, what you're going to charge for it, how you're going to do all your like paperwork systems, everything. So that was the piece that when I started out, it was like, okay, well, this is my real learning, the education of figuring all those pieces out.
Well, it's interesting, and I know this is what you and I talked about on your program, was, our definition of success changes, because it's true. Sometimes when you are in that corporate role or you've gone through formal education, you think the answer is another course or the answer is another step in the ladder. And there's comfort in that. Whether there's truth is another question. And yet taking the recognition that I won't know what I don't know until I leap is a very powerful one. And we talk about it a lot here in the community is, yes, you need to take the leap. The world needs your unique talents, skills, and your passion is so important. You always need to connect to that. But you do need to learn the how. And there's tons of knowledge out there. Like, knowledge isn't the problem. Sometimes it's the applying the knowledge we struggle with. And it is the thing that holds us back, because so often we sit on the fence thinking, well, I need to know how. And one more course is the solution, or one more free event is something I will get this magic transformational outcome from. And then we sign up for another course and another course and another course. And I'm curious about your journey. When you finally did make the leap, did you wish you had done it sooner? Or was the timing the right one for you? And how did you know?
I'm not going to say, first of all, that was all beautifully said. I'm not going to say I have a for sure answer to that, because it was a very interesting time. Part of me wonders if I, excuse me, should have left the program I was working at sooner for my own sake, and just that whole experience. In terms of the entrepreneurial piece, it felt good, and I felt ready by the time I'd done my own work to get there. I also started just before COVID, so I spent a little bit of time, I got a website, made sure I had, some idea of what I wanted to offer. And as soon as I had started reaching out to people, COVID hit. So not that
Plot twist.
plot twist, ha ha ha. And I don't want to put it, I know it's very easy, and I have fallen into the trap a couple times of saying like, oh, well, COVID ruined everything and jobs can't succeed. I don't believe that's the case. However, for someone who is planning very in-person, outdoor experiential work, it meant that I had to do a big shift.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally, I don't ever want to say things are the wrong time, because I do believe things come into your life when it's the right time. And, you're talking about coaches and mentors and courses. And one of the things that's definitely been the right time is whenever I've needed a new skill, a new connection, whatever that's been the right time. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to go ahead and say that, it was the right time for my business. I I love a reframe, because I know some people have problems with everything happens for a reason as a
Mm-hmm.
statement, right? They're like,
Yeah.
something else is controlling my life. I don't believe
You
that.
gift away control when
You
you say
gift
that.
away control. I personally like, you can take reason from everything that happens,
Oh, I love
because
that.
that then gives that autonomy and that power back to you. And you can say, I could sit here and be like, well, if I'd started my business before COVID, I could have done so much better. Or I could say, okay, well, obviously there was a reason that it was sending me a message. I needed to be more online and figure out all of these different pieces. And as I've kind of opened myself up to that, the right opportunities and people have come into my life.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I always think timing is an interesting conversation, because so many people they gift away their power. They believe that there is a magic time. And I always truly believe now is the magic time, and you create opportunity. And it's true. If you start to, yes, there's a leap of faith. Yes, believe it's possible. Yes, go out and put yourself there. I don't think it matters what economy you're in. Businesses will succeed and businesses will struggle. The question is, which choices are you making? And if you need skill, grow skill. I don't know a single entrepreneur that made the leap and thought, I've got my all shit together. So I was going to think if I could find another word. I can't, it's rolling out of my tongue.
Yeah.
But also saying I have it all from a skill perspective. Because even myself, who came from a really traditional corporate background, which was very eclectic, I spent years in marketing and branding. I've worked in the selling capacity for years in different industries. I've also operationally been very system driven. So I have an eclectic skill set, which makes, in my own humble opinion, me a valuable thinking partner, because I can help you fill the gaps and build the skills. But the biggest difference for my own journey, and that's what I believe you're saying, is I had to learn to become and learn the skills to be in this place, in this moment. And it is an evolution. I am becoming, and new ideas are always ahead of me. The right people will come when you need to, but sometimes they're right in front of you and you don't accept that they're really there to help. So I'm curious, in your own story, as you've made leaps, what have been some of the big pillars that you had to learn? And what advice would you give to somebody who says, I don't have all the answers and I'm scared? From having been through it,
Mm-hmm.
what did you learn, and what would you say to navigate that?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think I think there's two pieces to the fear, and they are both really valid. One is, do I have the internal capacity and skill that people will want to use me, right? And there is a whole piece of work to do with confidence. I think as an entrepreneur, you need to constantly be doing things that reaffirm, I mean, meditation, about this, mantras, whatever works for you, to be able to feel truly confident in what you have to offer the world. And I think I am like you, that I believe everyone has an amazing gift to offer. So that's the first part, because honestly, it is hard. You're going to get no's. You're going to get people not responding. There's just going to be a lot of that, and you have to be able to be like, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to keep going. So that confidence piece, and with that, also knowing your why. Why is it important to you to do this? Because if you can't say it's really important for me to be able to give this gift to the world, you're not going to have the resilience, even the desire to do this. That's totally fair. Um, I think being strategic and acknowledging that it can be really hard financially for some people to start, even if you're not starting with a big business loan or something, recognizing you go from a consistent paycheck to a variable paycheck, what kind of support you have in your life, planning it out. There are a lot of resources out there for that too. I know, like, we have banks and credit unions and stuff that will support that. And there's just a lot of resources. So that's, I think, the first piece. And then for me, the biggest piece was definitely the marketing. I felt, I think maybe naively before I went in, that it was going to be, like I said, that, you know, you put it out and you put some effort into reaching out to people and ta-da. Uh, I, I think the journey of a entrepreneur, especially at the beginning, is, you know, 90% of your time is learning to be a marketer and marketing yourself. And then 10% is getting that part to do what you love. And I had no experience in marketing, no idea how to do it. So that was a huge growth point for me.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm so glad you said that, because I think it is true. I think one of the biggest common misperceptions is that even if you came from, again, like you did, or I did, I have corporate skills that I know I can translate into a business. I've got an idea that gets us started. And yet we do need the mindset support to know that you must keep going when convenience isn't there. And you have to have the courage of conviction. And subsequent to that, you know, when people say to me, I was chatting with a new business owner last week, and one of the comments they said, well, you know, what do you recommend? How do you recommend to spend my day? Because it's one of the things I do audit and spend and encourage people to do is audit your time. If you're spinning your wheels, stuck in your head and wondering, how do I do the next step? We need to know that that's not helpful, first off. Action will always be more important than living in the circle of, well, what if? But 70% of the time is what I recommend people spend on marketing. And that is networking. It's making relationships. It's not saying, hi, sell, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. It is about awareness. It is about credibility. It is about telling your human story so that people connect to you and can see the value. Because if they can't see the value, you won't get the transaction. And you don't control when transaction happens. You have to trust that if you keep showing up with value, the right people will be ready, and you cultivate that with time. And so I love the fact you shared that, because I think understanding that will smooth some of the frustration and the highs and lows. And one of the other parts of that thing is the money. I think we always overestimate how quickly money will flow. And that's when I say, are you wanting a business out of this, or are you dabbling? You can't be in and out to grow a successful business. But I read a great stat pretty recently that said, you know, side hustles, and we talk a lot about side hustles. Lots of people start their journey there. If you go down the side hustle route, you're 33% less likely to fail as an entrepreneur, because you're learning the mindset, you're learning the skills, you're building network, you're building credibility, you're building support systems that enable you to catapult when you're ready to go full time. And I'm a big advocate of that, because you also then have the stability of a regular paycheck, and you're also building a future where you're job optional.
Yes.
You will, when you make a leap, I always say to people, and you might not have the wings when you jump, but trust me, you can grow them on the way down. So looking back in your journey over the last little while, what has been something you wish you had learned earlier? Anything that stuck out for you?
God, I mean, probably lots of pieces, 2020 vision, all that. Um, I I definitely knew near the beginning that community was something I needed. I came from a very tight-knit staff team, a lot of that, and setting out as a solopreneur. And then, of course, everyone, when I was starting, went from this shift from in-person networking most people were doing to the big online. So I think it took groups a while too to settle and find that piece. Networking's both a really powerful way, obviously, to meet people that might know your ideal client. And also, like, all the skills it gave me have just been huge. It increased my confidence in public speaking. Just being able to summarize some of what you do in a minute is really important, and you're able to do that every week. It built community, and you talked too about the entrepreneurial mindset, and that to me took a little while to get into. I didn't realize how different my thinking was beforehand, and I suspect a lot of people experience this. They come from, you know, corporate or whatever business world, and that's the mindset you've cultivated for a long time of how you work and what you expect. And the entrepreneurial mindset is honestly so different that it took me a while to really understand it. And even now, you know, I have some friends who are like, really, you did that? That's something you do? Like, is that weird? Is that, you know, kind of this judgment piece? And looking back, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe a couple of years ago, I would have thought the same thing. I would have been like, oh, that's not something you do, or that seems weird. And now I'm like, well, this is kind of what you do. This is how you have to speak about things or put yourself out there, because it's not like a 9 to 5. It really isn't.
No, not in the early stages, and that's I know lots of
No,
what our community members are. And
no.
Leah is a beautiful host for a network we both are members of. It's called CIBN, and she hosts our Thursday Canada-wide meeting. So if you're looking to come network and just meet some people, perfect your art, what I love about this community, Leah and I are both huge advocates for it, is that it will teach you some of the business skills beyond just the networking, and
Yeah.
that's really important too. It's the creating the safe haven to be vulnerable, to share that it's not always highs and lows. And in the middle, there'll always be somebody who is there to link arms with you, help you on your journey, or maybe provide you the one piece of insight or the one connection. And that connection might be to grow a skill. It might be to see a different way to talk about your business. And right now there's a really epic event going on. It's going on from now until the 30th, where we're giving away tons of prizes for entrepreneurs to really help them on their journey. So I want to cast your vision. I want you to tell us a little bit about what you do with All Thrive and how you're going to make a huge impact in 2022.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to reinforce CIBN was a game changer for me. And whether it's a networking group like that, whether you find a mentor, whether you make your own accountability group, whatever that looks like, you need people. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur, if you're doing your business, that the benefit of having someone else, for example, like someone taught me how to make events online. I've been taught, how to social media. The reason I have a live show is because one of our members said, "Hey, do you want to come be on my live show?" And I went, "Well, this was so fun and easy. What a great way to serve my audience." Like that would have never happened without these people who are trying different things and able to share those different strategies that were working for them. So whatever that is, I just got to reinforce, go find your tribe, your people that are going to support you. CIBN's great. Come check us out too. In terms of All Thrive, so I like to say, and this has actually been an interesting journey as well, is really refining what you want to offer. Because I had an idea when I started of what programs would look like and what my message was. And as I've said it a lot of times, as I've communicated with people, it's changed, fine tuning in the output I'm giving, but a lot in the messaging too, and how I've been able to express it to people. So what I like to say now is I help protect people from the pain of damaged relationships. And relationship belonging, this need that we all have for connection, is something that I've known for a long time, really hit me when I was working in the addiction and mental health program that I was in. And what was really sad about that program, one of the last pushes that really brought me to entrepreneurship, is I really don't believe that people need to hit the bottom of the barrel, or rock bottom, whatever you want to call it, before you learn those skills. There are so many skills you can learn for relationships before you're having problems, before you get that divorce, before you lose that friend, before your kids never want to come home again after they're 18, right? These are things that happen to people, and it's not that you're doomed to be in that situation, right? There are pieces that you can understand about how you communicate, how you show up, that once you do those, people feel more understood, they feel more respected, and suddenly they want to spend that time with you. And that is ultimately where we're all seeking. Our mental health, our physical health, our longevity are all influenced by our relationships. So that's the piece I've really gone after. So that's what I love to speak about. It's what I love to facilitate courses in. So I help businesses, groups, anything kind of from families and up, really understand where those, I call them friction points, are, where the little rubs are in their relationship, and then how they can get past that and recognize how much they're able to support and care about each other.
Yeah, I think that's why I love what you do, because I know Leah talks a lot about ROI, like the return on your relationship and the impact it has, because community is everything. So we're always grateful and want to say thank you to all of you in this growing community. This is a place where you can come be inspired. You can hear other entrepreneurial journeys. You can share the common learnings and lessons and still be inspired and feel hopeful about what comes next. Every journey is different. Together, we're stronger. And I would love you to close by, telling people, how can they connect to you? Where do they find your show? How do they support what you're doing? And if they need help, or they know somebody who needs some support in navigating complexity with relationships, because it is always an evolving piece, how do they do it?
Yeah, so the best place to find all that information is allthrive.ca. So ALLTHRIVE.ca. So that's got a link at the top to my live show. Christine was a fantastic guest. And the show is all about mindset, which, as you've heard a little bit today, and I'm sure you've talked about in your other lives as well, Christine, as an entrepreneur, you need that mindset to succeed. Your mindset around marketing, your mindset around your path forward, your passion that you're pursuing. So I would love it if people would check out that show. And you can check out my website. It's got all my contact info. I'm always happy to, contact me. Let's do a little chat, because there might be some things I can gift to you, even a little 15-minute conversation that might smooth out some of those problems you're having. So please connect with me that way.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here and sharing your journey. I love what you do. I'm a huge advocate for the work that you're doing. We've made some great friends over the years with TIBN, and I'll drop a link if you want to come along with Leah and I. You've now got two friendly faces in the room to go and start putting yourself out there, because the lesson that we both know and we shared today is it's not enough to simply say, I have an idea. You must get out there. And one thing I'm going to be doing in January, so just a hint here to the group in the community, let me know, but I'm going to be running a 30-minute webinar and a workshop that's running. It's 13th of January at 11 a.m. and it's going to be helping you present with passion and confidence, because confidence is everything. And you need to know your story. It can change, and it will change the more people you meet. So embrace being a work in progress. Leah, thank you so much for being my guest today. I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Look forward to watching your journey evolve in 2022.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much to everyone watching. I love this community you've created. So kudos to you for finding this and pursuing your dreams.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a happy holidays. We'll see you soon.